On the USTEC 100, USTEC 100 was one of our most profitable trades last week, as we were able to do some buying opportunity in this market here by giving us some significant profits. Then we also had some sell positions too as well. But now that we are going into the new week, we want to have a fresh new perspective of this current market structure. And looking at what has been happening on this chart since the beginning of the year, it is quite obvious that price action has been bullish in this market. And if we take a closer look at the structure, you will see that the market structure here has transitioned into an ascending channel, which further emphasizes the level of buying strength in this market. So as you can see, we have been seeing higher highs and higher lows in this market. And one interesting thing during the first day of the month of April was the fact that price action broke out of that 12,800 level for the first time in over 5 months in this market, to give us a signal that buyers are getting stronger in this market. And if we zoom into the trading activities since the month of April here, we were thinking at the beginning of the month of April that this breakout of the structure could likely be a very huge signal for us to join a bullish move to the upside. But you can see what happened here throughout the course of the month of April. We saw our price action fell into a range between the 13,220 and the 12,800 to further emphasize the level of indecision in this market. And if you look at what has been happening in the last couple of days, you will see our price action is currently ranging around that resistant line, which appeared to have been broken a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. But we have seen that as soon as price gets into that structure, we saw our sellers continue to negate every buying attempt from that level. Now, with the fact that we now saw a higher low in this market last week, I'm of the opinion that a bullish momentum is looking very promising at this point. So going into the new week, I have a key level already figured out at the 13,320, which will be serving as our yardstick for this week. And what this simply means is that if price action breaks out of the 13,220 to the upside, we continue to look out for more buying opportunity in this market. But if selling pressure resumes below the structure, then we might be in to join a bearish move to the downside. So we are going to be scaling down into a much more lower time frame to see how participants in this market has been reacting to this 13,220 level since the beginning of today. So going down into the 1 hour time frame, this is what I was able to spot after monitoring how majority in the market has been reacting to the structure. So let me scale in. So this is 13,200. In fact, I had to make it 13,300 here. So let's see how this works out for us at this point. So what I did here was to monitor how participants in this market has been reacting to the structure. So this is what I was able to come up with after looking at what has been happening in this market in the last 12 hours. So look at what we have here. You will see that price has been ranging since the beginning of today, where price action is caught within the $13,265 area and the 13,230. Now, this whole situation here, if we consider the impulsive move that got us to this point, the first thing that will come to mind is to look out for a trend continuation pattern. So if we take into consideration this impulsive move that brought us to this point, where leading to a situation where price is caught within this range, it's looking more like a bullish rectangular pattern, where a breakout of the 13,265 will now confirm this to be a trend continuation pattern. And you all know what we look out for whenever we have this kind of simple setup. We want to see price action either break out of the resistance line for buying opportunity or breakdown of the support line for selling opportunities. And with the situation we have here, I have a buy stop order sitting above the 13,265 level, where we shall be looking out for buying opportunity in this regard. So a buy stop order above that level, and if we are lucky enough, if price action comes back to retest the structure, it will be welcoming more opportunities to add more position to our existing trade, and a further breakout of a 13,300 level will definitely be another huge opportunity to add another position to our existing trade. However, in as much as we are looking out for buying opportunities in this market, it is always important that we also take into consideration the potentials of the sellers in this market. Now, if we look at this whole structure, the fact that price action has been ranging between the 13,265 and the 13,230 level is a sign that there is an indecision in this market, where majority are looking forward to probably a catalyst that will give a sense of direction. And one thing about this kind of flat channel is that despite the fact that it has a tendency of transitioning into a trend continuation pattern, it could also turn out to be a reversal pattern, and this could be as a result of profit-taking activities. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, if we look at how price action started from the $13,000 area, you would agree with me that majority who had bought this instrument at a very cheap price will at one point want to be taking some profit off this market. And since we had an impulsive move to the upside here, definitely majority will want to be doing some profit-taking activity, which is definitely going to be reflecting on the chart as a retracement phase before another wave of bullish momentum will happen. So if this turns out to be a retracement phase, then definitely a breakdown retest of the 13,220 will be confirming this perspective in this market. So if a breakdown of the 13,230 happens, remember, we are not getting too excited to jump right into that sell position, as we want to see some confirmation that will give us that leverage to be part of that move. So we wait for the breakdown happen, look out for a retest of structure, then we can actually join that move to the downside. And in order to project where the retracement phase could likely end, what we want to be doing here is to take into consideration the impulsive move, bring out our Fibonacci retracement tool, run it through the previous impulse leg, and aim at that area between the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg, which we are going to be having somewhere around here. So I would like to label this area as the TP target for sellers, and a potential demand zone for buyers. So I would like to place this right inside that box. So we have the center here, and then we have this area. Okay, so we shall delete the retracement tool now, no longer needed. So what I'm simply saying here is that if price action breaks down the 13,230 level, then at this point we want to be seeing a sign that price might likely be going to the downside. So we are going to be having a TP target between the 13,120 and the $13,000 mark area to take the profit of that counter trend opportunity. And if price action drops into the structure and we begin to see something like a reversal pattern, probably in the form of a double bottom structure, head and shoulder pattern, or a falling wedge, then we might get it ready to join the second wave of this bullish momentum in this market. Now, and one thing about this structure here is the fact that it also shares a confluence with that bullish trend line that has been supporting the bullish momentum in this market. I think this will be clearly seen on the 4 hours time frame. So for the sake of clarity, let's scale up into the 4 hours time frame so that you can see things more clearly. So since the month of April here, you will see that I connected a series of higher lows in this market, giving me this bullish trend line you can see here. So if it so happens that price action drops into that trend line, you can see that it shares a confluence with that TP target zone for sellers and a potential buy zone for buyers. So let's see how price action plays out on this one. So in summary, on the USTEC, we already have a simple setup. We have a range between the 13,265 and the 13,230, where we are going to be looking out for either a breakout of the structure for buying opportunity or a breakdown retest of the structure for selling opportunities. So I would advise that we be on standby to catch this move. And one thing about this whole situation here is that it is very likely that market is looking very slow this morning actually, and this as a result of the public holiday. I just learned that a couple of minutes ago that there is a public holiday in the United Kingdom. So because of this, we might likely be seeing a slow start to this week. So it's always a time where compulsive trading is always very prominent, so we don't want to get caught up in that kind of situation. So let's ensure that our setups mature before we want to be joining any potential move in this market. If you do have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and rest assured that I am willing to be of help.